How's it going?
Good. How are you?
I am great. Thank you so much for doing this.
No, thank you for having me.
Yeah. How's it going? How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank
That's good.
you. Doing the best I can considering the circumstances.
Sure. Where are you at? Where are you at in the world?
I am currently at my apartment in Los Angeles.
Oh, right on. Okay. Yeah, we're just south of you in San Diego.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's great. My guitarist actually lives in San Diego, so I go down there frequently.
Oh, it does.
Hmm.
What? Your guitar lives down here? Is that what you said?
My guitarist.
Oh, I was like, what? That's interesting. If you drive all the way to San Diego just to play
Yes,
guitar.
I have to drive there just to practice every day.
That's funny. All right, Luna. So our podcast is about your journey in the music industry and how you got to where you are now.
Awesome.
So in LA now, are you originally from Los Angeles?
I am originally from LA, yeah.
Okay. Tell me about growing up
No,
in LA.
sorry, no, I'm not from
Oh, you're
LA.
not.
I've been here so long it feels like it. No, I've been here for close to 6 years now, but I'm from Arizona.
Oh, Arizona. Cool. What part of Arizona?
Gilbert.
Gilbert. I'm not
Yeah.
familiar.
Yeah. I was like dairy farm, suburban. It was a weird mix of both of those things. But it's about 40 minutes outside of Phoenix.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So Phoenix was like the bigger city to.
Yeah, when I was like an adult, I moved out to the Phoenix area, but I've definitely lived in LA longer as an adult than in Arizona.
Right on. How did you get into music?
I've been performing for pretty much my whole life. I started singing when I was like 3 or 4,
Wow.
and then writing music when I was about 10 or 11, and then going out and professionally performing by like 14. So it's just kind of always been something that I've done and I've had a really big passion for. So yeah, and I'm still here.
Yeah. Wow.
So that's good, right?
Yeah. So you're writing songs at 10, 11, you said.
Yes, not
And
very good ones, obviously, but I
but
tried.
but in 3 years, you said by 14 you were playing professionally. Tell me about that.
Yeah, I mean, I was booking gigs, playing venues, like doing that whole thing. I joined like my first rock band when I was 16 and opened up for a bunch of people that I loved. And,
Oh,
I did the whole thing and, got a little bit more invested in the writing side of things as I got older. And yeah, so now I have multiple projects, including this project that we're talking about now.
mhm.
This one is like my project. It's like my brainchild, my baby.
Sure.
um, but I do write a lot for television and film as well,
Oh, cool.
and that kind of thing too. Yeah.
That's awesome. So at 14, you're in this rock band and you guys are opening up for people like just you were like the local opener usually?
Yes, exactly.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
It was kind of like a pay to play situation. So it was like you can play as long as you sell 100 tickets, basically.
Ah, gotcha.
But
Yeah.
that's kind of how it was back then. It's not necessarily like that as much anymore, but
Yeah, I
they,
remember LA being notorious for that. Like if you wanted to play like the whiskey, you had to give them like $1,000 up front, to sell like
exactly. Yeah.
tickets.
Which the pay to play structure, I'm happy, is not something that I have to deal with anymore.
That's cool. Who are some of the bands you guys got or you got to open for?
Oh, back then, I mean, it was all kind of like local stuff. I opened for Dance Gavin Dance,
Wow, that's
and then
cool.
The Main is another one.
Hmm.
Yeah, and just like a bunch of like local rock bands and bands that like kind of swing through town.
Hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. I played so many shows; it's hard for me to recall
Oh wow,
exactly who
yeah.
I've opened because I've also played like festivals and
Hmm.
yeah, all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, okay, at 14 you're in this rock band, and then what took you like what was the next progression musically for you?
Well, I had to finish high school, so by the time I was 18, I had auditioned for Berklee College of Music.
Wow.
That was something that I was interested in, and I got accepted, but I did not attend because for me it was just like there's no way I was going to put myself in that much debt to go to school.
Yeah, moved to Boston and that
Yeah,
whole thing. Yeah.
it didn't equate to me, to be a musician and an artist and to pay, the substantial amount of money. It didn't make sense to me. So I was like, well, you know what? They have a acceptance rate that's like 13%. So the fact that I even got in is like an amazing thing. And I'm just going to take that and I'm going to run with that and just like get straight into the industry, which is what I did, and ended up moving to Los Angeles and have been working here ever since.
Wow. What was the audition process for Berkeley? What did you have to do?
It was actually crazy because I was able to do things then that I can't do anymore because it's like anything else. Like if you don't practice, then
Oh, sure.
they would like hand you a sheet of paper, for example, with music on it, and you would just have to like sing it for them. Never seeing it before, so you have to be able to sight read.
Wow.
They would sit behind a piano and play a note, and you would have to tell them exactly what they were playing. Just like crazy stuff like that. A couple songs that you would perform, but yeah, no, I was definitely honored that I got accepted into such a prestigious music school. But again, I was just like, this doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's not for me. So you
Not
decided to.
I appreciate it, but not for me.
Yeah. So you moved to LA instead.
I did. Yeah.
Okay. So tell me about
Over
moving to
time,
LA.
I spent a lot of time in Phoenix, really building my career and
Oh, okay.
trying to make a name for myself in my hometown first before I ever like took off to LA, because I didn't want to just like show up in LA with no network and nothing underneath my belt. So I spent a lot of time in Phoenix and playing around in the Phoenix scene, and I kind of hit a ceiling there. And that was when I was like, all right, it's time to go and see what I can do in the big ol' LA.
Sure. Well, when you're in Phoenix, were you just playing solo?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So I started this project close to 7 years ago.
Wow.
And it's definitely changed. It started out as a pop project, and I think I was just doing that because I didn't necessarily know who I was yet. I didn't know what my sound was. So I was just kind of like doing what I thought I was supposed to. And I made great music, but it just wasn't anything that really spoke to me personally. And I took a little bit of a hiatus from the project and really kind of sat with myself and was alone with myself and learned how to use my voice and like what that even looked like or sounded like. And I was able to work with a producer named JT Daly, who has been, the catalyst in all of this to help me create this new sound that you hear now with the single and the new EP. So yeah, and that just recently happened over the last couple years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And what was the first instrument you learned how to play?
Guitar.
Guitar. Okay.
Yeah.
How old? And you were pretty young because you said 10, 11 years old when you were writing songs.
I was 13 when I first started playing.
Okay. Did you take lessons, or was it all just self-taught?
No. Yeah, no.
Self-taught?
My brother was like my older brother was very, very gifted at the guitar, and he just kind of played by ear. So I just followed suit and just kind of learned how to play by ear, which I still do now. I'm actually learning. I'm taking guitar lessons now because I really want to know what it is that I'm doing. But as far as playing, I just kind of like taught myself everything.
Well, if you could sight read, how did you learn how to do that? Was just that from just singing?
Yeah, I just taught myself how to do it.
Oh my gosh. So you can look at it and know what note is note, but you wouldn't, like on a guitar, like right away you could say, okay, that's a C, but it was just translating into the instrument.
Yeah, so that's what I'm learning. I'm learning like
sure.
the theory side of it now, whereas like before it was just all kind of by ear. So I was just playing what felt right and what sounded right to me.
That's cool. Okay, so you start gaining a following, and you said you hit a ceiling kind of in Phoenix.
Yeah.
And then you decided, okay, I'm going to move to Los Angeles. Tell me about that.
Yeah, I mean, I moved to LA, and it was definitely a shock to the system, to say the least, because it's this big city with all of these incredible artists and musicians, and you just realize like, okay, this is it. Like you're here to compete with this. So there was a lot of growth that needed to happen before I would ever get to the point to where I would be able to compete. And so that's kind of what I did, was I just spent a lot of time in writing rooms and writing with different producers and songwriters and just trying to find that thing that was mine, that was going to make it possible for me to compete in this music industry.
Mhm.
And I think I found that, and that's, you know, a lot of what this new music is. But yeah, it took time for sure.
Mm-hmm. And how are you meeting the producers? Like, do you remember like your first kind of break, so to speak, where you got into these writing rooms?
Yeah, so it's interesting. So everything is so everything just feels like a mini step. So, you know, you kind of go to the right networking event, you meet the right person, you vibe with them, and then you're like, oh, let's write something.
Mm-hmm.
Or I have a manager who sets up all of these writing sessions with producers that he meets, or he meets other managers that have producers that are looking for artists to work with. So it just kind of all works out that way. It's half business, half organic, so to speak. But yeah, no, you write with one person and that person knows another person, and then you end up just kind of, it's like
Like
this
spider webbing out.
exactly. It's like a spider web.
Wow. Okay. So the guy that you, or JT Daly, is the guy that you met that really helped you form what will become the Three Cheers for American Beauty
Mhm.
EP. Okay. And
Yeah.
how long have you been working with? Like, when did you start working on the EP?
The end of 2018 was when I started working with JT, and that was, he, by the way, he's a phenomenal producer. He's someone that I feel like everyone should know. He has worked with people like K.Flay, and he did the last
Oh
Paris
wow.
record, and yeah, I mean,
Wow.
his accolades are amazing. He just,
Yeah.
for ESPN, the 30 for 30. So he's moved
Oh,
more into the
television.
film and television world. But I met him because I had a song that I wrote for a sync company, and it was this very like kind of grumbly Nine Inch Nails, like very bass heavy
Mhm.
song that he got his hands on through management. And he was like, I want to work with this girl. So we started working together, half in Nashville at his studio in Nashville, and then half here in LA. We worked at the Spotify studios and like different studios around the
Wow.
city. And yeah, and we worked together for 9 days, and I think we made about 7 songs. And yeah, and a majority of those are on the EP.
Rad. Wow. So he was in Nashville and you would fly out there to write and
Yeah,
vice
so
versa?
he came to LA to write for half of the time, and then I went out to Nashville to write for the other half.
That's cool. And you got to work in the spot. I didn't know Spotify had like studios. They have like
Yeah, they
recording
have,
studios.
yeah, it's called the Secret Genius Studio. They have a program called the Secret Genius program, I believe, and yeah, it's just to kind of help newer artists get a place to record. And you know, it's multifaceted, the program, but yeah, I was able to just kind of use their studio, which was really nice.
That's awesome. That's really cool. I didn't realize that. And then when you got to LA though, were you performing? Like, were you trying to get booked at different places? Like, how was that?
Yeah, I mean, I've done like school night. I've done like the whole, you know, the whole LA rounds of, you know, performing all of these industry events and playing shows and doing all of that. I played a lot of fun shows living in LA, and a lot of like crazy. I played this one called the Geo Metro Party. And you know what a Geo Metro is? It's that that 90s car.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Geo Metro. Okay.
I guess. So it's a community of people that are trying to revitalize the Geo Metro, and they idolize the Geo Metro and like treat it like a god. And so they throw these like crazy shows where people will go and like perform on top of the Geo Metro. And that was something that I did recently that I thought was so weird but so fun. And yeah, I
So
mean,
people just roll up in the like you have multiple Geo Metros?
no,
Because
so it's like one Geo Metro, and the one Geo Metro is like their god, and they have it in this like warehouse downtown. You just like, they have people like stand on it and perform on it, and it's like this crazy party that happens downtown in LA. So it's, yeah,
that's so funny. I've
it's
not
it's
heard of
hilarious.
this.
It's amazing. Yeah, I had a great time. They're awesome people too.
That's rad. And I did see that you got to play with a bunch of K.Flay and the Killers, and you did Kaboo. Like, tell me a little bit about how'd you get in on those stages?
Um, I how did I get on those stages? I don't know. I ask myself that all the time. I don't know. Yeah, no, I don't know. I worked really hard, and I made sure that what I was doing was cool enough to be
Sure.
validated, for people to want to put me on stuff like that. And obviously I had an agent that was booking me all of this stuff as well.
Okay.
So it helps to have a team, obviously, to
Hmm.
take your project and kind of bring it to life and put it on a stage and yada yada.
Yeah. So when you were doing those shows, were you performing the songs that are going to be on the EP, or were they older songs?
Yeah, so some of them were older songs when I was doing more pop stuff.
Hmm.
And then just recently I've only been performing this new music for the last year.
Okay.
A lot of those performances have been, I just did a tour with a band called Fever Joy just recently. And other than that, I do a lot of, kind of industry nights and that stuff to kind
Hmm.
of get out there and like test the music. But
Sure.
I am looking forward to, when all of this is over, to getting back on a stage because I am missing it.
Yeah. Have
Yeah.
you been doing the live stream thing?
I have not yet. I am sure that I will be, though, with this release. I'm sure there's going to be lots of outlets for me to do that. So
Hmm.
I'm looking forward to doing that. Haven't done it yet, though, so I'm still think it's a little weird.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I'm
it
sure when I do it, I'll be like, oh, this is nothing.
is. That's cool. You said you're on tour. Like, was that right before the lockdown happened?
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
Okay. Were
yeah.
were
It
you
was
in the middle of the tour?
in February.
Oh wow. So
Yeah, I was in February.
the tour was in February, or it ended in February? Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
oh my gosh. So it was like right before everything got shut down.
Right before, just missed it.
Oh my gosh. Where was the tour? How far did you go?
We just did like a West Coast tour. So we did San Fran, LA, San Diego, Phoenix, and like a couple more dates.
Oh, cool. Where did you play in San Diego?
San Diego was Soda Bar.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
The
Soda
Soda
bar.
Bar?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's a place. It's a venue.
It was Soda Bar. We
Oh,
played.
rad. Cool. So the new EP, you have two songs out like on Spotify and stuff right now.
Mhm.
Are those going to be a part of the new EP?
Those will be part of the new EP. I have a new single called Honey coming out this Friday.
Hmm.
And then after that, I'll have another single and then the EP in October.
Very cool. How many songs total are on the EP?
6.
6. Rad. Okay.
Mhm.
Very cool. Well, is the vibe of Honey similar to what you did with English Boys and Crash Dive?
Yes. Yeah, it's very energetic. It's very like tongue in cheek.
Cool.
I think it has a lot of really, really cool elements that pull from the 90s. And yeah, it's very bratty.
Bratty, I like that. I noticed, yeah, because like with Crash Dive, it's got that like kind of like '90s industrial like vibe. For me, I feel like it kind of, yeah, has like a Nine Inch Nails or like Garbage or something kind of like similar to that. Is that kind
Thank
of the
you.
feel for the record?
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely my twist on all of my different influences, which, are obviously come from the 90s. I'm a 90s baby, so a lot of my early influences were, things like Garbage and Hole and Nine Inch Nails, and among many other things. I also listened to hip hop and rap and country
Mhm.
music. Like I was exposed to all sorts of different types of music, but yeah, this record definitely pulls from those like alternative rock influences.
Hmm. Why did you decide on Honey as the next track to release?
Because I want it out so bad.
Oh yeah.
Want it out. It's one that I'm so excited about. So I can't wait. Honestly, that's the truth.
Is this EP, half of it was recorded in Nashville, half was in LA?
Yeah.
Do you were like specific songs wrote, like did you write specific songs in LA and write specific songs in Nashville?
Yes. So English Boys was written in Nashville, as well as, oh God, what else? I think that was the only one. No, there were two more. I can't remember exactly. I know for sure that I wrote English Boys in Nashville because we wrote it with a songwriter named Trent Dabbs,
Mm-hmm.
who is also amazing. He's a very, very talented songwriter. So I felt very lucky to work with him. But yeah, that's the only one I can really remember. It all kind of feels like a blur.
Do you feel like the song, like, was there a different vibe when you were writing the music in Nashville versus Los Angeles?
No, I don't think so. Cause I mean, GT and I are both like pretty emo. So I feel like we just take that energy with us everywhere.
Okay. Right on. That's cool. Like, so the new EP's coming out. You said you do sync work too. Like, tell me a little bit about that. Is that what you first started doing when you moved to LA?
I was kind of doing them in tandem because I wasn't really sure what would pan out.
Mm-hmm.
As a musician that's starting out, it's really stressful wondering like where money's going to come from, because you don't have funding in the beginning. You have to kind of do it all yourself. Everything is very like grassroots unless you have this invisible hand kind of helping you out.
Mm-hmm.
For most people, yeah, they kind of have to start from nothing. So I was just interested in making music, and I am interested in just making music, and I don't really care what that success looks like, as long as I can make a living doing what it is that I love. That's what I want to do. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's kind of why I got into that side of it as well, is because I kind of put that childhood fantasy of being, this like famous rock star to sleep, and kind of, got with it, and thought, I need to have other baskets. I can't just put all my eggs in this one basket, because I am talented. I'm a great songwriter. I'm confident enough in what I do to be able to take on anything. So I'm just going to. And so
Mm-hmm.
I started a project called Glitterbot, which is this very like kind of indie pop electro, also very bratty. It kind of has like Beastie Boys vibes, but yeah, but a little, it's a very swaggy. It's interesting, but it does well in advertisements, and it's so fun to make. Like we just like get stoned and just make funny music that we think sounds good and like makes us want to move. And so that's kind of what that project is. And then I have another one called Saved by Satellites, and that project is more of like a The Naked and Famous, or like
Oh,
MH,
cool.
like very like ethereal
Electronic. Yeah.
electronic rock kind of
Mm-hmm.
stuff. Yeah.
Rad.
So
Oh,
all these projects are just happening all at the same time, and I'm just like, please, one of them.
well, that's cool that you got the. I mean, is it different writing for sync versus just putting stuff out as yourself?
Yes, very different. I think I spend like a way more time, and I put way more thought in the music that I make for myself, because it is reflective of just who I am as a person. So I like it to feel intentioned, and I want there to be intention behind it. Because I guess I am a little bit more vulnerable when I'm writing for myself. But when I'm writing for these other projects, I'm really just trying to make something that I think sounds good, or it makes me
Mm-hmm.
want to move, or whatever it is that I feel during that session is what I want to create. So in that way, it's awesome, because writing for all these different projects is also very therapeutic, because I can just kind of go and put all of my energy into all these different spaces.
Mm-hmm.
And we're all human, we're all multidimensional people, so it's definitely therapeutic to be able to go and make all of these different sounds, and kind of give away that energy.
Yeah. Do they give you like, I don't know, prompts and stuff to pitch you? Like, hey, we need a song about, yeah, like, I don't know,
Yeah,
the
like
ocean.
we need this to sound like blue. Can you do that for us? Like, can you make it sound like a little blue? Yeah, no. I've definitely I've definitely had to like deal with that kind of thing, like the prompt thing where they're just like, we want this to sound like Selfie, you know, the Chainsmokers. And I'm just like, no, you don't want that. I don't want anything that sounds like that. Horrible. That was like 2013. Get with
Yeah.
no, so I kind of like I'm lucky enough to have been able to kind of sign deals with companies, with sync companies that just let me do whatever I want and trust me and trust that whatever it is that I'm going to provide them is going to be something that is going to land in something. So yeah, I've been really lucky in that sense. But yeah, in the beginning, it was a lot of like, we want something that sounds like this, and you just kind of have to make it for them. But I didn't ever find any success in that process. So I was just like, leave me alone. just like back off, let me do my thing. And I promise you, I will give you the song that you need for this placement.
Yeah. Wow. That's rad. Have they ever pitched you something and you're like, oh, I already have that song, like ready?
Yeah.
Like I have a song about this that I'm just gonna hand you.
Yeah, I mean, like, especially right now, there's a lot of people are wanting things that are, you know, female fronted,
Mm-hmm.
female empowerment, all of that kind of stuff, which is, it just ends up being perfect because it's a lot of the stuff that I already write.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very sassy.
That's cool.
I'm a sass machine.
Sass machine. I like that.
Sometimes people are just like, we want the sass.
You
Them.
deliver
I
the sass. Well, you released a couple of these songs last year. Is there like, did you have it all done last year, or were you like still writing up into this year? Like, tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's been done for a while. I think I've
Okay.
just been waiting for the right time to release it. We were supposed to release it the beginning of this year, but because of everything that's going on, I just didn't feel comfortable.
Right.
First of all, with the pandemic, I didn't feel comfortable releasing any music or asking for people to pay attention to me
Right.
during a time, during a time that people were really struggling.
Right.
It just didn't, it felt gross. And then when the whole Black Lives Matter movement started happening, it just felt even grosser to try to have anyone pay attention to me. I think that was the time to kind of sit back and listen and learn. And so we just kind of pushed it to the end of the year. So I've been sitting on this music for close to 2 years now, or
Wow.
about 2 years, but in the process of writing new music as well. So it's good to kind of keep things rolling, keep the ball rolling.
Yeah. Have you been able to write a lot during quarantine, or is it kind
Yeah,
of?
actually, yeah, I have a home studio. So yeah, so I've always been able to kind of do things from home, and, you know, not much has really changed with that kind of stuff.
Oh, okay. That's good. Yeah. Because I've talked to people where they're like, yeah, like I was in the beginning, but now I'm still looking at the same four walls and I don't really have inspiration anymore. Like,
Well, I'm poor, so I'm poor, so I don't have the luxury to not write music. I need to do it.
well,
Okay, so I'll stop you there. No,
okay.
I love I love taking time off and like making sure that I'm not just like working myself to death. But
Mhm.
for the most part, I definitely work myself to death.
Well, I mean, so you have a new song coming out on Friday, Honey, and then you said another single and then the record coming out
Yes,
in October?
October 2nd. Mm-hmm.
Very exciting. Is it going to be difficult to promote the album? Like, as far as, we're all inside, you can't get out and tour. Are you going to
Yeah,
try
right.
to rely on the?
I gotta get really creative. You know,
Yeah.
I have to
Is
get on that TikTok game before it gets deleted.
Are you on TikTok?
I am, but like not really.
For
I
sure.
haven't. I have a few videos up right now. I don't know. It's hard for me to subscribe to it, if that's fair to say.
I get it. I'm the same way. I feel it's a little too juvenile, and like it just feels like it's a lot of work for
I'm
something.
just not really the type of person that's like trying to do dances, you know?
Or yeah.
Like, I think that's so cool. I'm just like good at doing like this thing. Like not even really good at that. No, I think there's definitely interesting ways that you can promote your music when you release new stuff. I think you just have to be really clever about it, and I think just consistency is really important. Just making sure that you're always online, like talking to people, talking to your fans, messaging people, commenting on things. Like, I think that's the best thing that you can do in this time where, people can't necessarily go to shows and all of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. It's wild. Hopefully it'll all
I
blow
know.
over here pretty quickly, but who knows? Yeah.
It's a lot. It's a lot. I personally don't think it's going to end anytime soon. I am hoping for a vaccine or something by the beginning of next year, but I mean, who knows what's going on?
I know.
It's nuts.
It's crazy that they were like, oh yeah, Coachella and excuse me, all these things are gonna happen in October, and like how quickly that was like, yeah, no, we're not putting 100,000 people together in one area.
That's the thing too, is it's like when is that going to be able to come back? Because even though we reopen things, I highly doubt that like big spaces like that with a lot of people are going to be like the socially responsible thing to do after
Sure.
the pandemic.
Yeah, let's all go camping in the same area and all
Yeah.
go be all up against each other. Yeah, it's
I'm interested to see when live shows will actually be something that's like acceptable to do.
mhm.
Um,
Hopefully I feel like the smaller clubs may be the first ones to reopen, but then again, it's like a small club will probably still have to cut their capacity down, like at least
exactly.
like 2/3 or a half at least, I would think. I don't know.
Yeah, no,
Um,
exactly. Yeah, but you know what? It's times like this that I think it's really important for creative people to be creative,
right.
be innovative, try new things that people haven't tried before, like, these drive-in shows that
Oh,
people
yeah, I've
are
seen
doing.
those. Yeah.
Yeah, I've had friends that have had lots of success doing those types of shows. And there's definitely responsible ways of having shows. So I think we're all just kind of picking our brains right now, just like, all right, what do we do? But we're gonna figure
Right.
it out because people need music more than
Hmm.
anything right now. Like honestly, they need that inspiration. They need something that makes them feel like they're not alone,
Hmm.
especially in a time like this. So we almost kind of, it's like our duty to figure out how to get it to them.
Yeah, I know. It's interesting because everyone's trying to come up with the same result, like the big idea. Like, how are we gonna do this and make it make sense? Like, live stream was a thing, and then it's kind of like because it's been going on for so long. I feel like artists are kind of just slowly dropping off the live stream train because in the beginning
Like
it was like,
everyone's doing it.
yeah, in the beginning it was like, all right, like Ben Gibbard's like, I'm gonna get on and play a Death Cab song or a random song every day for every single day. And then it's like, I doubt he's still doing it 3 months later. You know what I mean? Like it just
Exactly.
became something bigger than we all anticipated, unfortunately. But
Yeah. The
yeah,
good thing is it won't last forever.
that's
You
true.
know,
That is a
you,
good point.
you have a lot of time to sit and self-reflect and think about the things that we did not have time to think about before. So there are all silver linings.
Totally. Yeah, I totally agree with you. And thank you so much, Lena, for doing this today. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you so much for having me. It was
Yeah.
fun.
So you have a new record coming out, or a new song on Friday, and then the new record coming out in October. The EP coming out in October. Are you signed to a record label right now, or is it independent?
No, independent. Yeah.
Very cool. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Do you have aspirations to sign to a label, or are you just kind of like,
You have to be the right label. I think nowadays labels are signing artists that need development less. Um,
mhm,
they're kind of signing more so artists that already have massive followings and
or like a TikTok
or
viral
like
moment?
or like a TikTok kid. No
Yeah.
offense, I love I love TikTok kids. I love them all. I appreciate it. I get it. But yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, they're kind of signing the things that are already made because it's a lot less work for
Right.
them. But that doesn't change anything with me. Like I've always wanted to own my own music. I've always wanted to, run my own business and if anything, start my own label and do everything myself because I
Mhm.
think it's so important for artists to hold on to their ownership as much as possible. And being with a label sometimes it just doesn't offer you uh,
Yeah.
that kind of opportunity. And there are plenty of ways for independent artists to have blossoming careers that, allow them to live a very comfortable life. So that's kind of more of my goal.
Yeah, that's a good goal. A lot of there's artists that have been totally, had to give up all their rights. I mean, like A Day to Remember, I think Taking Back Sunday, like they didn't get anything off like those first 2 records.
Exactly. It's so funny because A Day to Remember is an example that I use for people when I talk about this kind of stuff. It's just horror stories like that where it's
they sell like 1 million albums.
Yeah, and you don't get to enjoy the the fruits of your labor, and you're kind of just making other people money, and you're a slave to this machine, which I refuse to be a slave to any machine.
Sure.
It's the machine, bro.
Do it. Well, I'm glad that they were able to, get it all worked out via the lawyers.
Yeah, right. Just like expensive lawyers and like a long process. Yeah, no, don't do that, kids. I am open to signing with a label, but it would have to be more of a partnership.
I like that. Yeah.
Not so much like them coming and saving my life and
sure.
For artists, like I would want it to be more so of a partnership.
Yeah, instead of here's what we can do for you, like let's work on this together. Not
exactly. Let's work on this together. We trust your vision. We trust you. We love what you're doing. Like let us help you do what you're already doing and just times it by 100.
Sure.
Yeah. Literally by like
That's awesome. Well, I have one more question for you. I want to know if you have any advice for aspiring artists.
Yes. So for aspiring artists, I think it's so important to remember that there's only one you, and you need to figure out what that is first before you ever expect anyone to subscribe to your music or to anything that you're doing, because when you're chasing other people's careers, or you're always kind of having frog eyes and looking around like, well, that person did that and that person did it this way and this person did it that way, like do it your way, because you're the only you. And if anything, if you're not exactly what the industry thinks is like the perfect artist, lean on that, lean on all your differences, lean on all of the things that make you special, and then create music that embodies that. I think that's very, very important, because then you'll find your real fans. You'll find people that appreciate your music because it's coming from you specifically, and not because it's just a part of this bigger, music industry. Bringing it backward.